check this out.
Well, hello and welcome everyone. We're thrilled to have you join us today for this exciting live session with the topic being building a better employee experience, how digital signage drives connection, clarity, and culture. I'm Vic Bowers and I'll be your host for today's conversation, brought to you by Spectrio in collaboration with Perdue Farms. In today's workplace, especially across distributed teams and facility-based environments, keeping employees informed, connected, and inspired has never been more important or more challenging. That's why we're here to explore how digital signage can help you do just that. From simplifying internal communications and supporting safety protocols to celebrating wins and driving cultural alignment, we'll show you how to make every screen count. To help us dive deep into this topic, I'm excited to be joined by two incredible panelists. First, we have Deborah Crippen, end user computing tech at Perdue Farms, who brings 15 years of hands-on experience supporting technology that helps keep operations and people running smoothly. Welcome, Deborah. And joining him is Lisa Joyner, account manager at Spectrio, who works closely with organizations like Perdue to bring digital signage strategies to life in practical, scalable ways. Together, we'll explore how Perdue has successfully implemented these tools to enhance their employee experience and how you can too. So let's get started. First, can each of you briefly share your role and how it connects to implementation or support of digital signage solutions in the workplace? Deverick, let's start with you.
Okay, thank you, Vic. I've been with Purdue Farms for 15 years, serving our associates as a end user uh, computing tech. In my role, I administer our mobile device management platform and assist with planning and scoping of our conference room AV equipment, which also includes deploying and managing our Spectrio and Perdue devices.
Very good. Lisa.
As an account manager, I've been with the company now 3 years. My goal is often considered the backbone of any customer relationship. I'm involved in nearly every aspect of the client experience, from billing to technical to quarterly business reviews. A key part of my job is getting to know the customer on a very deep level, understanding their needs, challenges, and goals. This allows me to identify the right Spectrio solution and align with their objectives and support their success. When it comes to digital signage, that means helping the client implement and manage systems that are effective, scalable, and tailored to their communication strategy.
Great. Thank you both. I'm glad to have you both here. For one, I just wanted to also let our audience know, thank you for stopping by. If you do have any questions, Megan Colby is my co-host, and she's behind the scenes monitoring the Q&A. So if you have a question for our panelists or just in general that you'd like us to cover, please drop it in there, and time permitting, we'll make sure we get to it at the end. Otherwise, we'll follow up after the webinar. So for my next question, let's start with the big picture. Why is employee experience such a priority right now? And how does digital signage play a role in shaping that? Deverick, I'll start with you.
Okay. Well, employees want to be informed, and when management fulfills that request, it builds a sense of trust and transparency between the two parties. The more management communicate objectives to employees, the better the relationship between the two. Employees feel more valued and included, and that equates to increased performance. Events and employee recognition also build a cultural community within the organization. So it's important that management gets the message out and gets across to all the employees, not just some.
Exactly. Thank you. So Lisa, from your perspective.
Well, since the pandemic, employee experience and satisfaction have become more important than ever, especially when it comes to retaining top talent within an organization. Companies are now challenged to find innovative ways to make their employees feel valued, appreciated, and connected. Digital signage plays a key role in this effort. It helps organizations communicate consistently and recognizes achievements, shares updates, and reinforces company culture in a very dynamic, engaging way. By doing so, it contributes to a more positive and cohesive employee experience.
Absolutely. So, Deverick, I'd like to dive in a little bit. Behind the scenes, I don't get this opportunity that often to have one of our end users, a client such as your company and organization. Let's talk about a few things that this is doing for the workforce. Perdue Farms obviously is large and diverse across multiple facilities. What communication challenges were you facing before using digital signage, and how has that changed since implementing the tech?
Okay. Well, before the company began using Spectrio plugs, messages to our production workers were delivered via paper documents, handouts, which in some cases were posted on a bulletin board
Hmm.
and were static. So the bulletin boards, depending on how many items are posted, can become cluttered and visually unengaging to the audience. So some messages were basically getting overlooked. So changing out messages required somebody to physically go to the board, and controlling who accessed the bulletin board could be also challenging. Uh, could have someone just deciding, hey, I want to just post this up today.
Hmm.
So the digital signage that was present at locations, which were few that were using a certain method, required a dedicated computer or removable storage device connected to the monitor. Managing content required someone with access to the computer or storage device. So sharing of communication from, say, our corporate office to this location had to be shared with an individual who has access to the machine or storage device via email first. So that process of having to send it to them, then they take it, then they upload it to the computer or to the storage device, you know, creates a process in
Right.
that overall scheme of things. So now with our Spectral plugs, a message from our senior management team can be delivered instantly to all locations with an plug device. The message can be dynamic with the use of videos, animations, images, or even live data in some cases, which enhances the audio experience. Um, Also, IT knows who has access into what
Right.
devices and can detect device failures immediately and not just when notified by the site personnel. So this ensures our messages are getting to our associates.
Yeah. So there's visibility across multiple locations, governance of the content. I heard you
Hmm.
mention that. The old process sounds like it probably took a while
Yeah,
to
yeah,
disseminate that
exactly.
information. Yeah. So walk us through an example of where digital signage has helped you improve safety awareness or kind of streamline a process change for the company.
Yeah, well, safety of our associates is of the highest priority at Purdue Farms, and it shows by being the most popular topic in our messages to our associates. Safety messages are regularly posted to help eliminate safety errors and ensure our associates are informed about changes that can impact their well-being. One of our associates designed a safety ticker that we plan to
Oh,
duplicate at all our locations. This safety ticker lets associates know the last time an accident was reported at the facility. This builds motivation, team cohesion, and gives the associates a goal to aspire to, try to eliminate any safety errors as much as possible. With that guided focus of our senior management on associate safety, we see the result. Our last fiscal year was our best safety performance on record, and Purdue Farms as a company has reduced accidents by 93% since the year 2000.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's quite the accomplishment. So, y- one of the things that also you hear that's some concrete evidence, but what are you hearing back from the employees on the new screens and the messaging? Have you seen any kind of impact as far as their engagement or awareness?
They love seeing the messages that are dynamic and engaging. When there's some video, it draws them in. So communication in this manner stresses the main takeaway of the message for employees. So instead of having, if you have a lot of data that you need to present to the employees, instead of having them read through all of it, you get the key points out to the employees, so that they don't have to read, through a letter or handout, and maybe, you know, stop halfway and don't actually get the full message.
Mm.
So this is has been great experience for them. And it also shows by the amount of content devices that we've deployed at our company. I would say probably in the last couple of years, we probably tripled the amount of digital sharing devices in our company. And business units are excited about it. They're getting creative on how digital signage can enhance the employee experience. So we get uh, a lot of requests for applications that we haven't even, we being my team on IT, may have not even looked at, but our users are looking at these applications saying, I can do this with that application, and they bring it to us. So it's been a great experience, and they really like the digital signage uh, use of it.
That's great. So Purdue's known for strong culture. You mentioned it earlier, and safety is important, all the things that make a solid foundation for the company. But how do you see digital signage supporting that culture on the ground, especially like in areas where employees may not have regular email access?
Yeah, I believe that that's the biggest benefit that digital signage has brought to our organization. Um, the question was always being asked, how do we get this message to our employees that are not assigned a PC or have company email access? With digital signage, we can engage everyone. We have an example is we have a project that we're currently working on that will provide important information to our truck drivers at the fueling station. So while they're fueling their trucks, important information is being relayed to them. That uh, there is no other method that I think works best than the digital signage for that.
Great
And
example.
yeah, so we're working on that, and got other use cases that will probably be coming out of that. So
Hmm.
very excited about how what's taking place using digital signage in our company.
So if you have somebody listening or watching, tuning in today, what are some best practices or lessons learned that you'd share with other organizations just starting out with digital signage?
Yeah, well, we went through a process and we learned uh, some great lessons, through the process. I would start off by saying, number one, develop a governance strategy as to who will approve content being shared. Um, you know, you want someone to oversee that process, and it could be delegated out to multiple people. It doesn't have to be one person, of course. um, and they'll develop guidelines for content that adhere to your organization's policies. You want to be careful about, you know, what things are posted uh, that could be sensitive to someone or to an employee. So you want to have guidelines for what can be, displayed. Um, Another one that I think is very important, and we're actually going through a strat or working on a strategy for this, is developing accessibility or A11Y guidelines for content so that it's viewable and accessible to all associates, including those with visual impairment. Example, someone being colorblind, you want to make sure you choose colors that are uh, are able that they're able to see even if a person is colorblind. Hearing loss. You want to maybe think about adding closed caption to your videos for those that have issues hearing. And that's just to name a few. If you go through and look at accessibility guidelines for digital sharing, you'll find a list of different guidelines that you should put in place. So I think that one was very important. Decide how you'll train your content providers um, so that they are versed on the tool and equipped to get the best results from using it. We had a major rollout of in-plug devices, and to make the learning effective for new users, my teammate Jonathan created a video tutorial for those associates. And this eliminated us from having to schedule training sessions with each user or create one training session for everyone. The video is, on demand. They can go to it whenever they need to, review certain things that they may have questions about. So that's been very helpful in our organization. And last, I would also say if your company uses a single sign-on for enterprise applications, integrate it with Spectrio. It will make for a better experience as it relates to user management, and users will not have to remember another password, which I know everyone uh, greatly appreciates.
Those are all great call outs,
Mhm.
things to think about. So thank you for sharing that. Lisa,
Mhm.
I'd like to come over to you and get an account manager perspective. What are the most common goals or pain points that you hear from companies when they're first considering digital signage?
Question. From my perspective as an account manager, the most common goals and pain points that I hear from companies when they first consider digital signage revolve around two things: ease of use and content management. Many organizations struggle with maintaining consistency in their messaging and visual themes across all locations. They also want the ability to update content remotely from anywhere in the world through a reliable content management system. Addressing these challenges is critical to ensuring that their digital signage solutions are effective and scalable.
No, that's uh, that's a great perspective, and I'm sure you work with a diverse book of business there. So you're hearing from different companies, but they all seem to have some of those same needs, right? Same wants. So
Exactly.
how does Spectrio help organizations like Purdue Farms tailor their signage content to ensure it's personal, relevant, actionable for their employees?
Spectrio helps organizations like Purdue Farms tailor their signage content by providing the best in class platform and content management system. Our solutions include a wide variety of apps that enable you to display personalized, relevant content designed to engage employees effectively. The flexibility allows Purdue, for example, to streamline communication that delivers messages that are not only informative, but are also actionable, helping employees stay connected and aligned with the company goals, no matter where their location is or their roles.
So what are some of the features or capabilities of digital signage that companies often overlook, but can really make a difference in employee communication?
Yeah, there are several features of digital signage that companies often overlook. One key capability is real time data integration. For example, many organizations use digital signage primarily for static announcements, but incorporating real time data allows for dynamic and timely updates that can better inform and engage employees. Another powerful feature is interactive content and two way communication. This can include, for example, QR codes that link to surveys, feedback forms, or other resources, enabling employees to actively participate um,
Mhm.
and provide input, which fosters more connected and responses in the workplace.
Yeah, so it's two-way street communication, so it allows them to be engaged that way. So that's a great call out too. So from your view, what's the difference between digital signage that just delivers information and signage that truly drives connection and culture?
In my view, digital signage that simply delivers information serves as a tool for sharing important information, announcements or alerts like company news, schedules, or safety messages. While it's valuable, it tends to be only one way communication and doesn't fully engage employee. On another hand, digital signage that truly drives connection and culture goes beyond basic information delivery. It actively fosters engagement by celebrating employees, recognition, achievements, sharing stories, and encourages interaction. This kind of signage helps a sense of community, boosts morale, and strengthens alignment with the company values, making it very powerful in the workplace solutions.
We got a couple questions before we wrap up here today. I wanted to get both of your perspectives on it. So Deverick, I'll start with you and just say, how do you balance your corporate messaging with local or department specific updates on the digital signage across multiple facilities, for instance?
Well, we allow our local or department specific users to add content relatable to their facility. And then we also, our corporate communications team oversees content sent to the multiple facilities. So we kind of share, the space basically with the content between local and corporate. But if there's any time, that we need an important message to be at the forefront, Spectrio gives us the ability to prioritize what is displayed and extend the duration of a specific message. So if there's something that we really want to emphasize, we can even repeat it, more than once during the slideshow.
Mm,
So we have the tools there that that we can use to prioritize what's displayed. But for now, in most cases, we pretty much just share share the time with the local content when it's corporate related content.
okay. Lisa, from your vantage point and the customers you work with, same question. What's the balance there between, local property, corporate messaging, multiple facilities? How does that work?
With the Unplug platform, we have the flexibility to manage multiple facilities across multiple facilities. Um, we can push out consistent company-wide messaging across the entire network while also tailoring content to regions or even down to like individual locations. This ensures that every screen delivers information that is both relevant and engaging, specific to the audience viewing it, without losing any alignment and overall corporate strategy.
Hmm, okay. So looking ahead, how do you both see the role of digital signage evolving in the workplace as we become more hybrid and dispersed? Deverick, I'll start with you.
Oh, okay. Um, I see interaction possibly being allowed from the audience via touch, voice, or body interaction. As far as we are living in a time where workspaces have less employees in the office than before. I think the favorite buzzword of today is AI. It will play a role in making displays more personalized as far as content control and strategy. Um, I think an example could be when if you were able to equip a camera to the digital signage device, it could detect whether there's movement for a length of time in the room, and if there's not, maybe it goes into power saving mode. Certain things like that can be done with artificial intelligence. So I think it'll be key in that.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you already hit the nail on the head. That's already happening. And
Mm,
it's, companies are sometimes slower to adopt, but the technology keeps moving on, right? So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, Lisa, from your perspective, tell us what your crystal ball tells you.
Yeah, so looking ahead, I believe the role of digital signage will continue to evolve drastically, especially as workplace becomes more hybrid and dispersed. If we look back 20 years from now, it will be amazing to see how far technology has come. From the rise of AI to advances in virtual reality, I expect digital signage will integrate these technologies even more deeply, creating highly personalized and immersive communications experiences that connect employees regardless of their physical location. This evolution is going to be really exciting to see.
Yeah, I would agree. So, before we get into if there are any questions from the audience, my last question would be, I always like to hear what people learn from either past experience or mistakes. I learn most of my things from that, the missteps that we take. But uh, you mentioned earlier in the conversation, Deverick, that bulletin boards were usually used to be the way of getting messages out, break rooms, a lot of companies still relying on email. What's one piece of advice for those companies that still use that for internal comms? And what would it be? What would you tell them?
I would probably say your message is getting lost. Um, with bulletin boards, as I mentioned before, you have multiple uh, documents on that bulletin board, and a person, to get the message, they have to be there and kind of read each one, and sometimes there be maybe times where they just basically get have enough only a small bit of time, so they get reading one document and they never get to the others. But I just think visual content is just more engaging to the viewer than written word. And I think the employees, because of the visual content, using visual content, they're able to recall the chief objectives of the message more easily. Because if they can't recall the message, um, it really doesn't benefit the organization. If you're just reading something and then forgotten when they walk off, you know, did the message really get to the employee? Um, but when they can recall what that chief objective of that message was, that's when you really reached them.
Mhm. Oh, you're on mute.
Had to happen one time. I
Oh.
almost got all the way through. I was just going to say, Lisa, that advice that you would give somebody that's either still using that method of communication or using the email route, and thinking about doing something different. What would you give them for advice?
My advice to all companies that are still relying on emails or bulletin boards for internal communication would be to explore more efficient ways to provide information quickly and effectively. Digital signage, for example, can provide real-time updates and engage employees in a way that traditional methods simply cannot, helping organizations stay agile and connected.
Okay. Well, I'm going to wrap us up here because I think we pretty much answered all the questions I had. I'm seeing that most of the questions we have are specific to feature functionality, and we'll be happy to answer that offline. Unless there was anybody else going once, going twice on questions, be happy to for our panelists. Okay. I will take that as we are good to wrap up and give you back some time in your day. And I hope everybody found this to be beneficial. Thank you, Deverick and Lisa, for sharing your knowledge today. And
Absolutely.
thank you, everybody, for joining.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.